Hello YouTube, and welcome to another video. So this is my next update video number 4 on my progress towards my goal of getting off direct use of fossil fuels in this year, 2022. So since the last video, I have made some more progress on my goal, so I'm going to tell you all about that right now. So the first thing to start with is the cooker. So we have finally managed to get rid of our gas-fired range cooker. It had electric double oven, but it had a gas hob on the top, and we managed to well, we needed to replace it with a like-for-like unit, because the kitchen was built around a range cooker of that size. It was there when we bought the house, and obviously the worktops have all been cut for a cooker of that size, so we needed one exactly the same width, height and depth as the one we were taking out. And so I was looking for another one by the same company, a Range Master. And I wanted to have an induction cooker, and finally, by checking around on eBay, we managed to find one not too far from our home, and we managed to get it for a really good price. So we managed to get it for just £600. It was only about 18 months old when we got it, and the people who were selling it had just bought the house, and they were completely renovating the whole of the downstairs. So the kitchen that was there when they bought the house was being ripped out, and so they just wanted to get rid of it. But yeah, it was in fantastic condition, and like I say, only about 18 months old, and got it for £600, which is just fantastic. Now these are really large and heavy, and so after I bought it, I was then left with the problem of how do I actually get it to my home here, and so I thought about trying to hire a van, but then I knew I would struggle to get it on a van, you know, even with my son's help. So then I looked around for a man in a van, and I came across this company called anyvan.com, and basically it's like a man with a van, or in this case it was 2 men with a van, and they'll move anything you want. You know, you just pick a time and a date, and it tells you the price, and you book it all, and they just turn up and collect the item and deliver it to where you want it to be delivered. And yeah, the guys were fantastic, really helpful, really nice. I drove over to the place that I bought the cooker from to meet them there, and you know, the two of them, you know, they had some equipment, straps and trolleys and things like that, and they had no trouble getting the cooker out of the house and onto the back of their truck. And then they turned up to my house later, and they were brilliant. You know, they got some heavy straps around it and everything, so they could carry it over their shoulders between the two of them, and they brought it all the way around the back and in through the back doors, because that was the only way it was going to fit into the house, and brought it all the way around to pretty much the place where it was going to go. Yeah, a few bits of it got a little bit bent in the process, just from where the strapping went underneath. But really, you know, with these sort of cookers, I wasn't worried about that at all. You could just undo the screws, take the metal work off, bend it back into a nice flat shape, and then screw it back on again, which is what I did. And you'd never know it. You know, it looks as if it was brand new. So yeah, Man in a Van, really good website. Recommend it if you ever need to move something big and heavy, or it's Anyvan it's called. I'll leave a link to it at the in the show notes. So yeah, we got that. So then we had to remove the gas cooker. So got the gas pipe disconnected and capped off, and the electric disconnected, and took the old one out. And then with the new one, obviously it's just electric, so just had to reconnect the electric cable to it, roll it into position, and there you go. It was all done. It works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's complete, completely working order. So really happy with it. And technically, the cable that is sort of in place for the old oven. Now, it was capable of supplying a double oven and a grill on the old cooker, but obviously this new one is it's got 6 induction rings on the top and a double oven and grill as well. So this one can pull a maximum of I think it says 45 amps, and the cable that was already there is not big enough to supply that amount of current, because it was only for for a double oven before. But that being said, there is a 32 amp breaker on that cable, so if ever we pull more than 32 amps, it will just trip the breaker, and the cooker would obviously go off. But realistically, it's never going to happen, because there's 6 rings on the top of that cooker, and at most we would maybe use 1 or possibly 2, and one of the ovens. We certainly wouldn't have both ovens going at the same time. So we're never going to come anywhere near that current limit. So it's not ever going to trip realistically. The only time that it might potentially happen would be perhaps Christmas, if we were cooking for the whole family, and we had both ovens going, and 3 or 4 rings or something. Then maybe it would trip it. But I don't think that's likely to happen either, because we have a separate electric steamer that we use usually for doing our vegetables. So actually, in terms of the hobs, we really only use them for when we need to fry things, or if we need to steam a lot of vegetables and boil some potatoes or something as well. So we might have 1 or 2 rings going ever. I can't see us ever having more than that. So I'm not too worried about it. Like I say, there's a breaker on there anyway, and if we ever did try to pull too much, it would just trip, so and switch off, and we'd know we'd gone overboard, and we'd have to just adapt. Until such time as I can get a bigger cable put in, which maybe is something that we can get done if we have to have all the floorboards up to do a heat pump or infrared panels, depending on what I go for. Okay, so yes, so I thought it'd be good to just show you a little bit about the induction hob and what it's like. So yeah, I've just got a little bit of footage about that now. So take a look at this. So here it is, and I thought I'd just show you a little bit of it. Show you how good these induction hobs are. So you can see just about the markings for the ring there. So what I thought I'd do is I would see and show how long it takes to boil 1 litre of water. So it's 1 litre. Okay, the thing with induction hobs is that you have to have pans that are made of iron or steel. You have to be magnetic, otherwise they don't work. But this is not hot. It's not been on. It wouldn't be hot anyway. It makes the pan get hot. It doesn't make the glass get hot. Okay, so let's pour that in there. Okay, and then what I'll do is I will turn it on, and then I'll use my stopwatch. So I'll switch to the other camera. Okay, so I'll just get this stopwatch in view somewhere. Okay, let's see, just move that down here a little bit more. Right, okay. Actually, let's just rotate that a little bit. We'll just put that right over there. Okay, now I'll let's start the stopwatch, and we'll turn it on full, and let's see how long it takes. I'm just starting to see small bubbles forming on the very bottom of the pan now. See little bits of steam coming off already. Let's see. Bubbles starting to form at the bottom. So we're at 4 minutes and it's getting close. So it's at about 6 minutes. It's boiling. And you see how quickly it reacts now when I turn it down. Just like gas. I mean, it's really controllable, just like gas. And then if I whack it back up again, see how quickly that responds. It's just brilliant. So there we go. Now, the glass will get hot, obviously, because the glass has been in contact with the bottom of the saucepan and the bottom of the saucepan has gotten very hot from the induction. So by the fact that they're in contact with each other, the glass will get hot. So I can feel that there's, I wouldn't want to put my hand on that. And it does warn you with little H to say that that's hot. But right close by to it, it's not even hot there at all, and I'm right at the edge of the thingy. No problem. As it's literally, it heats the metal of the pan, which heats the contents of the pan. This itself doesn't get hot. So I won't waste this water, as it's nice clean boiling water. I will add it to my hot water urn that I use for tea and coffee, and we'll just pour that in there. And then it's not wasted. Okay, so there you see it. They're pretty cool. They react really, really fast. It's really controllable, just like using gas. The only thing is, obviously, you've got to have iron or steel saucepans, because it works on induction. It's got to be a magnetic metal. So it's no good if you've got aluminium saucepans. Absolutely nothing will happen. So we did have aluminium saucepans, or some of them at least. So as soon as we got this, we needed to get some new ones, induction supporting saucepans, and so we went to IKEA and picked up this set of saucepans that say that they are rated for induction hobs, and sure enough, they work fine, as you saw in the video. It's they're really nice. So they're made of stainless steel, and so that was a slight extra expense, but we did manage to sell our old gas range cooker for £100 using Facebook buy and sell or something, and someone came and collected that and gave us £100 for that. So really, all in, including the delivery charge for the man and the van and stuff, the swap over probably cost us, including buying new saucepans as well, about £600 altogether. So pretty good. I didn't want to go out and buy a brand new one. They're an awful lot of money, but also because we were only swapping over in order to get off gas, it's not like the old one broke down. So I felt like it wasn't justified to buy a new one. I just wanted to swap like for like, so that's why I was looking for a used one, because then I wouldn't feel quite so guilty about using up a whole load of new resources just to get off the thingy. So I think using up a second-hand one just sits a bit better with me for doing that. So that's why I did that. But like I say, it looks mint, so I'm really happy with it. Okay, that was that. So now the only thing that's left that's gas in the house is the heating system, and that is it. At the moment, I've got the gas switched off literally at the mains, and hopefully I'll never have to turn that back on. But that all depends on whether or not I can get a heat pump or whatever fitted before the weather turns, at the end of the summer. So as I mentioned in the previous video, I had one heat pump quote through already, but it was really quite expensive, considering the fact that they said that because our radiators all seem to be big enough and our pipework all seem to be big enough, none of that should really need to change. So it would really just be a question of putting the heat pump in, connecting it up to the main pipework, and replacing the hot water tank with a new one that supports the lower temperatures that a heat pump produces. But yeah, the quote was coming in at I think it was about £17,000 before the government grant. So if you qualified for the government grant, it's still going to be another 12 grand on top of that. So that seemed like a lot to me for fitting a heat pump. when no new radiators and no new pipework was required. So obviously I've got another quote coming in. I was expecting to have had it by now. Unfortunately, it seems to have gone missing. I've chased up the company. They were very apologetic. They thought that I should have had it by now as well. So I'm expecting that sort of mid to late next week. So I'll reveal details about that one in the next video. I also went to see Herschel about their infrared panels. I mentioned that in the previous video. And I finally managed to fill out the size of all the rooms and that on their form and send it back to them. And they produced an estimate based on what they think I would need in each of the rooms, etc. And that's coming out at around about £7,000, and that's just for the panels and the thermostats and that sort of thing. It doesn't include fitting, so obviously I'd have to get an electrician to come and put a new circuit in and connect them all up, unless I was just gonna get the electrician to run a circuit or something, and I'll do all the sort of mounting the panels on the ceilings or whatever. But at the moment, 7,000 just or thereabouts just for the radiators themselves. So that seems like a cheaper option at the moment, but obviously a bit more expensive to run. And the only other thing that I've got outstanding is I've got Octopus Energy. They want to come and, or I want them to come and do a quote for me for their heat pump system. But in order to get a heat pump from Octopus Energy, I have to have a EPC certificate with no recommendations on it before they'll do the heat pump for me. And I think that's because in order to qualify for the government grant of 5,000, you have to have an EPC with no recommendations on it. So I needed to get a new EPC done, so I contacted a company and they came out and did a new EPC for my house, and we scored an A, which is really, really nice. My solar panels really helped to bring that value down, I think, and the fact that I use my spare solar to heat the hot water and stuff as well. So that gave us a really good score. Unfortunately, we do still have one recommendation on the form, which is to get the cavity walls filled with some kind of insulation. So our house was built in around the 1960s, so it's just got an air gap between the two layers of bricks, and that's it. And so the recommendation is that we get that filled. So I've contacted another company who are coming out very early in August to come and give me a quote for having the cavities filled with whatever it is they do. It'll either be the little beads, the polystyrene beads, I think it is, that they fill up and then they sort of all stick together to make a big insulation mass, or there's also some sort of fibres that I've seen around that can be blown into the wall as well. I don't know which one it is that they do, but I think I would, well, it's difficult to say which one I prefer. I feel like if I had the plastic or the polystyrene beads, if there ever was a problem, and you hear of occasional people having problems, it would not be difficult for them to suck it all back out again. Whereas the sort of fibre foam type stuff, I feel like that it would be really hard for them to get that back out again if there was a problem. So yeah, I'll wait and see what they say when they turn up. But yeah, realistically, we need to get that done if we want to get the heat pump fitted. Well, by any of the companies really. We can't get the government grant, £5,000 boiler replacement grant, unless we have an EPC with no recommendations on it. So any which way, I'm going to have to get that done to get that money back. However, you know, if getting the walls filled with the insulation costs significantly more than £5,000, you know, you've got to ask whether or not it's going to be worth paying way over £5,000 just to get £5,000 back. But obviously, it will help to pay back in terms of lower heating costs. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they say. I'm hoping that it won't come anywhere near the sort of £5,000 mark. I'm tempted to think it probably be, you know, in the sort of £1,500 to £2,000 mark, but I don't know anything yet, so I'm just waiting to see what they say when they turn up. But hopefully, yeah, they'll be able to do that on a fairly quick turnaround. And like I say, I'm still waiting to hear back from Octopus. As long as I've got that done, I think they should be able to come and give me a quote. I've seen a couple of people on Twitter who've received quotes from Octopus to have their heat pump fitted. Obviously not necessarily the same size house or system as mine, but you know, their quotes are coming in at sort of £7,000 before the government grant, so it's only about £2,000 for them to actually pay. So you know, even if my heat pump was quite a bit bigger than what their houses are, you know, it still sounds like it would come in at way under what I've been quoted so far. And the only other option I've been considering is the company that I'm currently waiting for the heat pump quote from, where it's gone missing. They also install air-to-air heat pumps, so like air conditioning systems. And based on all that really hot weather we had just recently, where it was stiflingly hot in the house, you know, it was about 35 degrees inside. It did make me think whether I should have perhaps considered going for an air-to-air heat pump, or so that I can use it as air conditioning in the summer when we have ridiculously hot days like that. But also, you know, use it as a heating system in the winter. And it's just as efficient. It just gives you the flexibility of being able to use it as air conditioning in the summer, which air-to-water heat pump that, you know, powers radiators doesn't really give you that. Flexibility. So it's something I might consider. That's where we're at so far. We just need to get that final push now to get the gas system shut off, and then I can get Octopus to come in and disconnect the gas meter and have it removed, like I've seen quite a few other people I follow on Twitter have managed to get done. And I'm really keen to get that done. So yeah, stay tuned. The next update will be next month probably, and in that, hopefully by the time I get that one, I should have had this second quote through, and hopefully maybe a response back from Octopus, and I should certainly have got a quote as well for having the cavity walls filled. So that will give some useful information on all of those fronts. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody for subscribing. Please do like, comment, share, and I will see you all on the next video.